You see? Cybersect, we'll go on in. Cat, hi, we'll go on in. That's good news. That's good news. If you can see, that is good news. Stony, hi. Canna, hi, we'll go on in. All right, I don't know what I did. I didn't do much, but I did something. Good. Good news. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, I changed. What did I change? I changed something. Yeah, I know. I changed what Stony recommended, with basically having, like, processing, advanced, whatever thing, encoding, shitty, I forgot. um, I just saw a message. 1 second. I So, yeah, I changed the encoding things. I mean, not encoding, but encoding things. We all know. It's the same thing. It's fine. And maybe it's gonna be good. Maybe it's not gonna be good. I don't know. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. No, I'm not blaming you. I'm thanking you, basically. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. It's probably gonna break, to be honest, because my computer doing the encoding and the multi quality thing at the same time is probably not gonna be a good thing for it. So, that's the situation, at least right this instance. That is the situation. I have saved some of the thing that I want to talk about today on the side. I have something for you, Stony, specifically. I have something for Yan, as always. And yeah, did I just turn into a slideshow for a second? Yes, I think that's what happened. 200 is a long time. That goddamn. Goddamn. That's a lot. Congrats. Holy shit. Well, yeah. Let's hope we don't have a stream that dies, that then start again at the beginning of a stream and you're late. I don't know why that would happen, but we never know. We never know. Hi, Salma. Welcome on in. How can I help? Tell me everything. And yes, the hair is way too long. I can't. It's. I'm dying. One of the move filters is fucked. As in, the endpoint is not exactly what you want to do. I'm guessing it's your split scene I don't know why I'm guessing that, but I'm guessing it's your split scene. So basically, you have something where instead of having one of the elements being resized properly, it goes into its initial state and it doesn't change. Um, ah, you doubt my skills. My main ID from what you said. Um, oh, so you basically have um, not that. You basically have that. God damn. Yeah, I see. Yeah, well, it's only on one scene. It's the capture scene. The filter works on another scene, but not on one specific scene. Okay, so you have one of your base sub filter in the simultaneous move that is not set properly. That's the only thing that I can think about. So right now, you probably need to go in there and check some of the scene specifics, effects, and the scene's specific props and or move transition that you have. That's the only thing. But yeah, if there is an issue, it's gonna be at the end of the action on the sub filter action. So that's what I have in mind. But yeah, I can help if you need me to take a look, as in I'm taking a look at your screen. That's gonna be an easier thing. But yeah, um, you haven't been on here purple side of things. I mean, it's pink now, but purple side of things in a while. Are you streaming on YouTube? I thought you were streaming on YouTube for a bit for Coddle. Toddle. Yeah, dang. Also dang, yes. You are making your return, I see. Nordcraft is now the new name. Good to know. Drink! Good to know. Oh, goddamn. Canada, you have too much points. Is that what's happening? Okay, so yeah, I'll let you know when the stream ends, which is like 1 hour before you, based on time zone and things. And then if I can help you today, I will help you today. If I can't help you today, I won't help you today. But yeah. Something that is weird right now is YouTube streams is telling me that I'm sending 5.7 or 5,000 kilobits seconds, 5.7, to YouTube. However, OBS is telling me that I'm sending 10K. Goddamn. And my settings are set to 5 maximum. So I don't know. I don't know. Also, Red, hi. I saw your name. I didn't say anything. I'm sorry. My bad. But welcome on in. It's been a while. It's been a bit. Yeah, this makes no sense. So we've had like stream issues for a bit, and the stream output are supposed to be like auto and whatever. And now that I have done the thing that, Stony has recommended with the enable enhanced broadcasting, And now it's apparently sending almost 12K at times instead of the recommended like maximum of not 5K, right? Because I said 5K. I know I'm streaming all the qualities, but like it's not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to do that. I don't know. We have some news though. We have some news. News number one, I'm at 2,000 days, 2,075 days on Duolingo, which is the first pretty good thing. On my own app, obviously, and this is not going to work. It doesn't. I'm currently sitting at a very nice Molten High, 178 days, which is pretty nice, pretty nice. On my own, let me just fix this because this needs to be fixed. Oh, so because I enabled enhanced broadcasting, now the maximum is 720 for you. That's weird, but that's interesting. That's good to know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe there is something that I can do about it, but then I can see the stream, and Cybersec can see the stream now, which is like two people that couldn't see the stream last week. So that's positive. And then this now has news, as you can see, this bottle, specifically this bottle. The automatic crop of iOS is breaking. The far right of the bottle is getting an indent. That shouldn't happen. So that's kind of sad. Nonetheless, it doesn't really matter. It's there, it's working, which is anything that I wanted. We have more detail in the buttons. They are now the size that I needed them to be, which is really good. I have proper-ish. What the fuck is this? Yeah, I don't know if I will have much of that. That's weird because I was at 5K earlier and it wasn't like anything. I'm looking for something that doesn't exist here. So you have this thing that is now giving you the ability to get like in the feed, in your own feed for testing your perfumes, for the samples and the things. It's good, but it's not great. I didn't know that I had this in my collection. I do since last week. It's right in there. The thing that is interesting, important for this perfume specifically that I didn't know existed before is the amount of notes. This section, the fragrance notes, I don't understand why they have so many in everything. Like that's not supposed to happen in most perfume. You have like 3 to 6 maximum. This one has way too much. That's an interesting thing. Nonetheless, it's neat to have. So this is working. I have changed a lot of the principles on the addition of spontaneous notes. So in the past, in the spontaneous note, you have the ability or you had the ability to change and define where the perfume bottle is stored. And I decided that this wasn't something that needed to be spontaneous in that button specifically, and it's now in the menu because that makes way more sense. So in said menu, you have the bottle level, and right now it's kind of shit, but it's fine. And it gives you like the options of the bottle levels, and then the storage location, which gives you the exact same picker, which is absolutely disgusting, but it works. And from there, you have the swap and gifted, which is something that was recommended. Nope, requested about 2.5 weeks ago, I would say. And so that is basically to say, well, I swapped this perfume from something else, so I gave it to someone else, and I got something in return that is currently in my collection, or whatever you want to do. Or if you know that you gifted this thing specifically to a friend, and you want to remember exactly who you gave it to and why, now you have this form thingy that is added. The thing that I want to go into the import export, it opens just 50% because the form itself doesn't need to take more space than this. I feel like a 50% detent would be so much better. So, yeah. Um, Also, that YouTube thing just telling me that now my bitrate is at 0, which is higher than the recommended bitrate. Congrats, YouTube. Good job. So that's the main news, I would say, the main thing that I changed on these. There are, or there have been, some attempts earlier today to get the perfume bottle in that list in a way that makes more sense. And the more I tried, the less it made sense. So I reverted everything. And now we have this, and it's fine, and it's working. And some of these are really bad in terms of the quality of the images. But because I intend to have these things being way smaller in terms of sizes, um, it should be fine. It should be fine. So that's a thing. That is a thing. In terms of me being a designer and not knowing exactly what I'm doing, I did something yesterday of an extract that wasn't necessarily something that would make things easier for me, but it still did. So there is this website right here that is Fragrantica for the notes. We went to it before, and each of these are images that are taken or specific for the notes in question. The thing is, I did the script, I mean, Claude did the script to give me the right names, but when you look at these, I don't know you, but that seems kind of pixelated uh, in most cases, like just a smidge pixelated. I have the images, but goddamn, I understand why they are that pixelated because they need to be uh, very, very, very uh, light because there is like 1,700, but still, that's a lot. That's a lot of pixels. That is a lot of pixels, specifically when you have like a rendering that is just for wood, doesn't really look like anything. So yeah, we'll see what we can do with it, but that's a starting point of something, and maybe it's gonna be good, maybe it's not gonna be good. We'll see. Um, and Morton, I just read your message. the the way you find a font is you look on Google for the font if it exists in a free version. If it doesn't, you kind of can't find the things. You have My Fonts that is really good, and Font Squirrels, Da Fonts is good. Russian website if you can read Russian or use Google Translate to see things. But other than that, you don't really have a lot of options for finding good fonts. Uh, yeah, that's the sad thing. Other sad note that I kind of need to mention about the app, the power consumption of the app itself, since I added the particles in the background, is going through the roof every time, and the temperature of my phone is going through the roof every time. So there is two things happening. The fact that my iOS version is iOS 26 beta is making the battery and the processor go like crazier than they need to. For some reason, that's how Apple's beta software works. So it's harder, um, which is really sad. But then again, when you're using the app, you're not expecting it to just drain your entire phone in like 3 hours. So you're not supposed to use the app for like 3 hours. So that's the first thing. But still, like a burst of spike is not good enough. So we'll see. Anyways, that's most of the things for the app. I've tried to do some reorganization, and the sad thing for me is this is the proposed yeah, proposed directory organization, and that made me realize how many fucking files I have, because that that's way too much. So there is way too much things in there that needs to be refactored and reorganized in a way that just isn't that complex, because it is way too complex for what it is. So I had to revert because it broke the entire code base again. That happens. Let's hope that I have this link. Ooh. That is interesting. I don't think you might. I mean, I don't think you will be able to find that font specifically, but then you would be able to find fonts that are similar enough. These are common letters. Like this is a serif font with a teeny tiny bit of character, but not too much. Most of them are really classical, so you should be able to find things that are similar. Probably. But yeah. There is this one though. So you from what you said, right? You are looking for Dove's type. But then you don't have any option to get access to it. Did you try these two? Like this one and this one? Are they similar to what you're looking for? I mean, you probably did if you were on that website. Yeah, this one is a rounded version, but it's similar. And it's on that font, so it's gonna be free, obviously. Interesting. They are missing something compared to the original on the Bible page that is scanned, which is the slant on the letters. Hugo, hi, welcome in. Welcome back. How are you? Yes, it depends. So this is free for personal use. So if this is like on your own website, this is free. If it is something that you will sell, then it's not. So that is the thing. But if you just want to, buy it, you can buy it. And let's say, do they have... They don't really have any fucking licensing options, visually speaking, from what I can tell. Which is pretty sad. That website is really bad. Yeah, goddamn, shut the fuck up. Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah, yeah, it's free. At least this one is free. The thing is, again, these are two of the other digital versions that have been recreated. Mibinac is not necessarily the thing that you're looking for, and there is probably other options that exist in there that have been recreated that are closer to what you are looking for. So right now you are looking for this, if I'm not mistaken. You want that, that. You want that. um, Interesting. Good to know. Good to know. This is only a Wayback Machine situation. And they had these two things, but then I'm guessing you don't have the ability to download the fonts from them or from here. Like, that makes no sense. So, yeah. But it exists. It's somewhere. Which means that based on this article things, some people might have like links or other things for that font specifically and down outputs, but you might need to get like more research done in order to figure out exactly what you're looking for. But yeah, that's the extent of what I can do. Sadly, I don't think I can give you way more than this today. That Hugo, to answer your question, I'm pretty good. I'm tired, obviously. Again, this thing is slowing me down, and I can feel everything slow down. What? Goddamn. One of the good news, though, because obviously, I can drink that. We talked about it. I can drink that. That's viable for my current situation. Instead of having anything like, basically the fact that this has taurine in it isn't an issue because it doesn't have caffeine. If it had caffeine in it plus taurine, that's the combo that I need to avoid. But because it doesn't have caffeine, it just have taurine, and taurine is pretty good for the heart. Weirdly enough, it's a calming agent. Then that's good. I can drink that in the morning, which is good news because I can have my sweet treat, usual sweet treat. But yeah, that's everything. This is the archived version of the Dove types based on that footnote, Morton. But then that's, again, that is like not a downloadable thing. Like the specimen PDF, which is not exactly what you want. You want this. There was a license for £40. And Again, if something exists in the internet somewhere for a price, it exists somewhere else for free. I'm not saying anything. That's usually what happens. So you have probable options to find it in ways that make sense. But yeah, so again, a lot of them are going to be free for personal use. So if you are using it for your own website, for your own like personal projects that are not commercialized, then you are good. If it's a client website, a client thing, then you need to pay a license for this one specifically. But yeah, if it's for a news website, then it's a commercial situation, in which case you will end up with the need for them to pay the license. Doesn't mean that you need to pay the license, but yeah. Going back to what we were on last week, which was, I guess font brief is going to be the easiest. Oh, god damn it. Obviously. Well, not today. Phone brief might have been useful for you on this one, to get a bit more information. But yeah. What I would say though is the one that you want, the Dove's fonts, Dove's type, might not be good for a news platform. The thing you want to avoid is unnecessary complexity in how the letters are built. So a serif font is usually not great for a website. A sans serif font is better for the readability of the content, but like this is complex to read for the eyes, and there is or are some things in there that makes everything a bit more difficult to read for some people. So, not saying you need to go with like something that is absolutely sans serif like this, because this is the same thing. This is a geometric font, and this is two geometrics. There is like an in between. Font brief would have been a very good place to check, but right now it's just dead. Because you could have this. But yeah, like it's, to me, I would go for something that is a bit more sans-serif, but also because I like that. And then the other thing that I'm doing when I'm looking for font or specific font for anything, I'm going into the blog platforms. So Substack, Medium, the other things that exist that are using font for their text. I'm using Medium here for an example, or as an example, because they are using serif fonts. And obviously their thing is some sort of a like medium-based thing. Kind of. And yeah, like it's a font that is for Medium, used by Medium. You know, it's okay, but you might want to go into like details of some of the website that exists and find the one that are used and then potentially just use that or download that instead, because these are tried fonts. So on Medium, you have something that is tried by many people and people know and trust that this is readable. On Substack, it's the same thing, and so on. But I wouldn't go for serif. Serif is just not good. It doesn't, yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it. Other than that, like, that font is free most of the times, and you will be able to find things that you want to find and use and just have basic working things. Some of them are going to be more creative than others, but it doesn't really matter. The other one, even though not the best, but still the same, right? Font Squirrel is the same. For fonts, you don't have this. Usually for fonts, it's a one-time payment, as far as I remember, unless you go with a font that is old and doesn't have a new type of licenses. So, if that's the case, not the best. But if you're not against paying for the font that you are trying to get or use, then the free one is not necessary. And Creative Market is going to be much better, because you can go in there, go in fonts, and just use whatever is in here to, to do that. Atakan, walk on in. So let's say this is a font that you like, right?
Atakanbakix is just resubscribed for 28 months.
Goddamn, 28. Thanks a lot for that. Appreciate it. Welcome on in, welcome back. 28. Holy shit. I'm so dead already. So from here, you have the ability to say, thank you for the big ass emote. That's a big ass emote. Holy shit. This is a web font, or maybe it's an EPUB situation or whatever, like some things could happen. That is an option, and therefore you have access to the IDs, the context, the things. There is now an AI chat for licensing, so that's good. There. Yeah. God damn. Fuck. Almost dead. Almost dead. With that E at the end, I'm feeling that you have Victore, as in the Spanish pronunciation. But welcome on in. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thanks for chatting. I appreciate it. Welcome on in. I'm currently dying. Don't mind me. Everything is fine. Yeah. It will work. It will work. Holy fuck. Ah. And yes, Atakan, you can share a link. Sorry, I'm currently... This is taking effect. It's been an hour now since I've taken it, and it's just wow. Your name is Victor. Victor without the E. I see. Then work on it. Work on it. No, it's not. It's the medicine. It's the medicine and the other things. So yeah, I would say, Morten, the creative markets font section is going to be your best bets to get access to stuff, in a licensed way, in a more cheaper version than what you could have. As always, the licenses are for the client to pay, so you decide what you can have for tests and attempts. Then you just present the fonts, and then once they accept something, they pay for the font, or technically it's comprised into their pricing, but they pay for the font. You get the font forever. Technically, you're not supposed to keep it, but you can keep it anyways. And that way, the client is the one that is on the bill for the license, on the bill for anything else on the font related part, and you don't have any recurring payment that will be sent your way later. That's the plan. Get the font so that you can work with it. But yeah, Chris, hi, welcome on in. How are you? How's the day going? God damn, I am dying. So yeah, that would be my best option, best recommendation on this. Because official licenses, always a good thing, always a good idea. And some of them might be more interesting than what you had in mind. God damn. Why just now? Ah. I know why just now, but goddamn. This one, I just wanted to touch on that really quick before we go into Atakan's link, if you shared the link. That person said, after many hours, I'm calling it AI couldn't help me build a podcast app. Here is what happened. I think and I'm sure of it, they don't know what they are doing with AI helped assistant. The thing that they are showcasing here is Xcode beta with ChatGPT/Claude pre-integrated inside of the sidebar natively on the beta version of macOS Tahoe. I don't think this is exactly what they used, but if that's the case, it means that this version of AI-assisted IDE, aka Xcode, for iOS apps is not good. But the fact that they are saying I'm calling it AI couldn't help me build a podcast app feels like they just didn't know what they're doing, because I have built 7 different apps in the past 7 months, basically 8, through AI, and they work. So, that's the whole thing. Currently, what they're saying seemingly looks like they are using the native integrated version in Xcode, which means that, that's really bad. But yeah, yeah, I cannot show you the rest. Nope. The thing is, the reason why I have so many and the reason why I have such a good output potential is mainly because I know what I'm supposed to say and I know what I'm supposed to do. Therefore, uh, yeah, that's the main thing. Denny, welcome to the vacation land. Congrats on taking vacation. You went back to Italy for vacation? God damn. God damn. Walk on it. So, Victor, yes, maybe there is something that is like the prompt and the writing that needs to be like addressed in a way that makes sense and makes more sense. But there is also like a lot of things in there that is just, if that person is a dev, and I don't know about that, I don't know them, so I can't assume much other than, um, you know, the fact that they have like the no idea how to code is probably telling me that they also have no idea how to build an app in general. And therefore, that's the biggest pitfall for most non-dev, non-designer when they are trying like to build something with an ID assisted thing. Because when you are asking the right question and when you know exactly what you are looking for, what you are trying to achieve in like a code base or something else, you will get the results that you are looking for based on how flexible you are in the way that you are asking. So for here, for example, let me just use Auto for this presentation thing. I know it's tiny, I know you can't read and it's fine. Let me see. So in the detail view, we have the perfume bottle at the top, and in the recommendation view or recommendation card, we use the same image. I want to have that same image in the row view. As an overlay, as an underlay. Have a good, relaxing time, Denny. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. And enjoy your games. Yeah. Yeah. Let's say the Z stack and all. And then, so here I know it's tiny, but like basically what I'm saying is in the perfume detail view, we have the perfume bottle at the top, and in the recommendation card, we use the same image as something in the background. And now what we want to have is the same image, but inside of the perfume row, which is the section that I'm trying to edit. And I want to use that in a Z stack, which is basically stacked on top of each other, to have the bottle to show on the list. This is something that would be a potential that I could use and could say. The thing that I'm going to add on here is we might, and this is like a potential, I'm adding some unknown variables options so that the AI assistant can decide on its own if this is a good idea or not a good idea based on the rest of the structure of the file that we're looking at. To change the scroll view to Z stack. Oh, sorry, not the scroll view, the list view. Question mark, vague, unsure. And so that is giving the AI assistant a bit more flexibility to just decide on its own what it can do. If I had said exactly, I want this, this, and that to be done, it has more issues than if I'm giving it leeway to change stuff on its own. That's the difference. Do you have the feeling your design skills getting more worse through AI coding? Yes and no. Kinda. So yes, the short answer is going to be yes. The God dang, that's a lot. um, the the amount of time that I used to spend in Figma to design stuff is inexistent today. I used to spend 8 to 10 hours a day inside of Figma doing design work. Nowadays, if I spend 20 minutes in Figma in a day, it's a big design day. So, yes, 100%. My design skills are now lesser than when they were before. That's for sure, because there is less practice. However, my product design skills are higher than they were before, because now I'm taking into consideration the entirety of the pipeline all the times. So I'm having the back end into consideration, the front end into consideration, the data sources, the like the way that things are moving together and so on. So that is way different, and it's mostly like thinking rather than designing, if that makes any sense. Filu, hi, welcome on in, welcome back. How are you? And no, I don't want to become a dev. I would love to not become a dev for many reasons. many reasons. And congrats, Victor, on 77 screens. That's a lot of screens. That is a lot of screens. But yeah, like that's something, for example, here the assistant has done a lot of things. It has changed that far here with 168 things, right?
Roder07 is now following.
Rodeo, hi, welcome in. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thanks a lot for the follow. I appreciate it. I marked myself as sexual content, yes, because that's what happens on this stream. Sometimes we say stuff, and also I have strong languages, and I say some words often. So, yeah, it's part of the rules. It is part of the rules, sadly. So yeah, that's the thing. Like right now, I did this. It changed officially 168 lines, removed a ton of them. Basically, what happened is because we now have like a Z stack. It's a bit of a different situation, but it was intelligent enough to know that that Z stack specifically is used into my collection view, and therefore it needs to be displayed and changed around here. That, however, as far as right now, I don't really have an option to check it out because I don't have the view itself. So my only option as of right now is to basically launch the app on my phone and see how it behaves, how it works. Does it work? Sometimes it doesn't. And just hope for the best and see if that design here has changed and it's better, not better, and so on. The thing that I know, I'm going to revert what we just did at this instant, but like the thing that I know is that this specific row view component is used in multiple places. In that place, in my collection, it is taking the image and getting the image from the source, which is good, which is what we want, but it's not exactly doing the same thing when I'm adding a new entry. I'm going to wait for the compiler to do what it's supposed to do, but apparently it's kind of broken. It's kind of broken. 173. But yeah. That's the... Come on, Xcode, don't crash on me right now. That would make no sense. Thank you. God damn. Wasn't supposed to happen. Did still happen. So now from here, right, I'm taking a look at how it looks, what is happening, what is not happening, and so on. And so from here, I can now see that these perfume bottles are inside of the card. And now I have my whole collection with the perfume bottles, which is exactly what I wanted to have. And so that seems pretty good. From an accessibility standpoint, the fact that we have like some notes on top and the text on top and so on, that's not good. But because I know exactly how I want to refactor that card in a way that is making more sense, then I feel like this could remain and stay there. Now, in order to make sure that what I just did is working or not working with the rest of the app, I need to go in and then look for the cards inside of the search. Because here the brain, the image themselves are not loaded, and we can't preload them because there is like 40,000 entries, so that would be way too much. You know, we just have the cards this way. Is this good enough? Do we not have like too much padding on the side and not enough on the top? That's probably the case. Should I change things in there? Yeah, probably. But as a starting point, I feel like this is good enough. Not great, but good enough. And I can play with this to make sure that I have my spacing a bit better organized, my notes a bit better organized, and then therefore having like my perfume bottles really displayed in the right spot. Nonetheless, that is a derail on myself on what I'm trying to build here, for you to kind of understand what I'm trying to say for that person that couldn't build something with AI, probably because they don't know what they are doing. So, because I knew how to phrase things around here, and I've been doing this for the past, I don't know, 6, 7 months now, 8, maybe more. Anyways, I kind of know how these models are reacting and how these models are interacting with me, and I can interact with them depending on the time of day, depending on the ask, depending on the complexity of the task. And so that for the person here that probably just went in with like no code knowledge, no understanding of how SwiftUI works, which is basically what I had in my first attempt, the output potential with Xcode and only Xcode might be limited. I don't have access to it. I mean, I do have access to it, but I don't have access to it. So I can't really judge how it works. But by using Cursor in the first place, I could build this with no issues. And I now have this app on the store. It's been on the store since November, and it's growing and good and working. It had some bugs at some point, but now it's fixed. So, you know, like that's the type of thing that happens. So my designer skills are going up because I have more and more skills to design things and build products. My design skills, as in right in the Figma file situation design skills, are going down by the simple fact that I don't practice every day anymore. or at least not as much as I should. And it's more frustrating to have to work on all of this than to do all of this in Swift directly. Even though I'm not doing that myself, I'm using AI assistant to do that for me. It is still faster because once I have done, let's say I'm building this component in Swift. Once I have done this one with all of its state and variables and things, the only changes is in case this one, which is like MD and small, like medium small and default, you end up with just different values for your switch case. And that's just a property of your component that you need to define once. So if I do one of these, I can then add my values to ensure that I have the size of my icons that are correct and the size of my spacing that are correct as well. And that would take me, I would say this would take me 15 to 20 minutes to do in Figma. And it would take me 15 to 20 minutes to do in Xcode now. Which means that in total, doing Figma plus Xcode is doubling the fucking time. So I don't want to do that. I would rather just do the things directly and not have to do the work multiple times, because that's always my issues. So yeah, I would say that's the main thing. So my design skills going down, welcome back. My technical skills going up. My thinking skills, I would say, and planning skills in long term to make sure that the thing that I have in mind is going to work with everything that is currently in the code base and what I have as an idea of what needs to happen and so on. That is going to be growing as well, which like that's the main thing. And then I don't even know if I can do that. Let me see if I can. That would be great. If I could. There. Do we have a preview? Please tell me we have a preview. Do you feel this is also because UI component are kind of solved at the moment? Yes, also. There is nothing really interesting about UI that have been like yeah, no, that yeah. I think we talked about this before, but I should have this file open. It doesn't really matter. Where is my stream file? Here. Also, Dan is one of the reasons why I'm not. So, if I have a button, a regular button that is like 48 in height, and let's say that it's 88 in width for now, just for now, and that's my initial button color. We're going to use our regular blue for things. That is going to be a corporate button. And then that is going to be a regular startup button. For some people, they're going to do this, and they're going to change the corner smoothing to get something that is more Apple side, but let's do it at like 100% so that we really can see the smoothing. So that's a more friendlier startup E, but not necessarily startup E. And then lastly, you have the last option, which is this. And that's your most friendliest, simplest to implement, newest version of iOS button situation. These are solved, as you just said. So basically, the thing that happens is my client comes in, tells me based on the brief that they are looking for something that is friendly but not too much. That immediately tells me this is the type of component button that they want. Based on that, I have a set of predefined UI kits that I know. This one is one of them, obviously, but that I know and use, that I would use to match their style. And therefore, after that, once this thing has been defined, I'm basically like either going to use Entitled UI or Align UI and just start with that. And therefore the UI is done. The components, the visual parts is done. What is not done in terms of components is going to be the layouts. Like this website, for example, is an interesting website for the tiny illustration they have all over the place, the way that they have their cards done, the way that they have like a mix of a progressive blur plus transition plus fade. You know, like all of that is the type of thing that you could think about for the client, but the rest of the UI itself, again, this is like the 12 point kind of friendly, but not too much type of situation. And therefore it's you're right, it's solved and done in a way. So that's the only person that I've seen lately that have been like challenging is kind of wild, but I'm going to use Lua because it's a great example of how bad it is, but also challenging. When you're looking at most of the thing that they have done, they are just use like glass E, not liquid glass, but glass E things with interesting transitions here and there. But then they have things in their work situation, like this one that is really, really showcasing different illustrative types, different illustrative sections on a website. Like this one is the same thing, but most of the places where people are differentiating themselves are going to be in the illustrations. So for this one, for example, most of it is going into that app icon, that button, that teeny tiny things all over the place. And so it's just illustration. The rest of the UI in the components themselves, these are native and default. I think default components most of the times. So yeah, UI is solved to an extent, but it's just like ugh. To me, it's a waste of time to just redo these things over and over again for all of the clients. So that's again the reason I created this, just because it's easier for me. But there is like so many UI kits that you can just use and say, well, that's how things goes. That's how it works. So yeah, that was a big ass rant for no no reason. I mean reasons, but no reasons. Like the UI elements are really, really much already done. So that's just yeah. And then we as designers, right here, I would say most of the older generation of designers are fed up with this. This is pissing me off. 99% of the time, The only reason why the website is popular is because they have like good illustration and good animation on the website. But if you are not someone that understands the illustration, these things means nothing. And it's just, it doesn't help. Like, yeah, I mean, it brings just noise to something that it isn't supposed to bring noise. You're supposed to help the user know exactly what they are looking for or find what they are looking for and just gives them the answer without having them needing to just hunt for whatever they are looking for. That's the thing. But yeah. Um I think the if we go into Twitter because that's where we have most of the UI outputs. The feasibility of things right now is really, really high. So anything that you think about is going to be feasible in any way, shape, or form that you have. Like if you want to create something that is really gamified visuals and so on, you can use Rive or Figma to achieve something that just feel like a game. If you are someone that is looking for something that is a bit more glassy and new design type of thing, you will go with some illustration that uses glass and so on. But this is for illustration types. For anything that is in the product itself, nothing is really unique here. Like the only thing that is unique is the fact that the background is kind of yellowy. It's a bit of a sepia-y thing, and that they are using these tabs inside of the app. That's about it. Uh, Maybe the other thing is like the fucking radius here and here are not the same, but that's the only different design compared to like Notion. Notion is exactly the same fucking layout and website and thing. It's just different color scheme. And when you look at everything, also, by the way, if that is what happens next week, I'm buying one on the spot. Anyways, uh, I'm looking for another thing, another potential like UI thing that could make sense. Um, and then we can go into the like section. I guess that button is a pretty good presentation as well. We talked about it last week. We talk about this button specifically every week, I think. Um, it's an interesting button. It's an interesting concept of a button itself because it's a very simple button, but also it has a lot of issues from my point of view that I would fix in order to make things more mathematically aligned and more visually pleasing than what they are right now. Like it's a bit too short and it's almost not centered to an extent. Like it's just dead space, and dead space is just wrong to me. But that's a friendly button. This is one of the buttons that have been defined. It's I'm gonna bring Figma here so that we have it. It's one of these. Like basically that's the button. So it's a friendly app. It's a friendly thing. It's defined. I know exactly what I will need to use once the client is telling me, yeah, we want something that feels friendly but still corporate, but not too corporate. Like it's business related but not too much, and we want to make them feel like the user that are like business all the time feel as if it was like outside of the business hours, that they remain on that thing. So like that's an option. But yeah, like a lot of people are using like weird glass, weird rendering like that, for example. It's fine, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice. but it's a very common UI. I have talked about this before. I think Behance is one of the best place for that. What do you mean I'm locked out now? Some of the people that are in there have or used to, it's been a bit now, used to have like a version of the website that they are building in wireframes in one that is not a wireframe. That person is just doing like dribble shots on Behance. That's not what's supposed to happen here. That is interesting. Yeah, we don't have anything in there. God damn it. Well, I can't find it. But we used to have things that just gave us, here is how it was planned, and here is how it ended up looking within the case study. And that really, really helped me to really understand, once I mastered the structural elements, the wireframes, even though I stopped doing them after that. But once I have the wireframes understood, let me just case study, is going to probably help to get that. You really just have to think once and then you're done. So let me see if we have one of these. This is a visual case study, not a UX case study. God damn it. Yeah, that's a fake wireframe. That is a fake wireframe. Same thing. I guess this is an interesting one. We can kind of talk about it quickly. If you look at the output that is in that presentation, right, there is a lot of very, very visual things. But if you just think about the layout of the website itself, it is the most simplistic thing that they could have created. They have a logo, the pages, and a contact button, and then 2 buttons. The rest is just an image. Maybe the text is text, but I don't know. And here, the only thing that is different is the presentation of each of the 3 sections. They are doing something that is really weird to me, of saying 1, 3, 2 instead of 1, 2, 3, but whatever, I get it. You want something that is kind of weird. But other than the fact that the 0 and 2 are like in different Z index and that the images are broken, the layout is really simple. The layout is really basics. And there is nothing really interesting about it other than the visuals, the medias, the thing that are added after the fact. So when you're building the website, you're gonna just do this and be like, okay, cool, we're done. We have our layout, we have our things. It's fine. Like him, hi. Welcome in. How are you? How have you been? But that's an interesting point-ish, I would say. If you just remove the visuals, the website itself is really simple. If you remove the visuals, the layout is really simple as well, and you can really understand really quickly, really simply. I'm almost sure that this one is kind of the same thing. Everything in there is just visual, which goes back to what you were saying. It's great because we are going back, kind of, to the dribble days of doing as much wowing effect as possible and using that in the most basic interfaces as possible. It makes sense, it works, it's converting, but there is no need for thinking about the design anymore. And then that will come back in a year, I think. I think next year, people that are... went. people that went 100% on the AI train, we can generate something from scratch and have an output, have an app, have a website in 2 days. It will start to feel like something that is like everyone else, and therefore the design and the creativity is going to be asked for in order to get like different layouts, different content, different presentation options, rather than just the regular thing that everyone else has been using off the grid, of the layout of the thing that we currently have on Orthane. So it's a very debatable situation, I would say, right now, where designers like myself are losing their design skills because they are going into code territory ish. But then you look at the output of the designers going into code territory compared to the output of the devs in the code territory, obviously. And there is a big interest for taste, something that has been like, we've talked about it before, but taste is the differentiator in between a front-end dev and a front-end dev, right? You want to hire a dev for your project, and you don't know exactly which of these two devs you want to have. One of them is going to have a project that is visually good, and one of them is going to have a project that is visually interesting, but not necessarily good. Like it's a cool concept. Is it gonna work? Probably not. But it's a cool concept. And then you hire like a backend dev, and the thing that they are creating is just not usable for regular user because regular user are expecting a certain level of UI that they can interact with and have fun with and so on. So taste on the front end, the front end, and is a differentiator that just makes sure the person that you're hiring is the person that has the best taste based on your requirement or your needs at that instant. And right now, for me, which is someone with taste, debatable taste, but with taste and skills in the creation of what I have in my head, on Figma, for example, but then porting that from a Figma file to an Xcode file to get like the code out of it and getting what you ain't and getting the design done in a way that just makes sense to me with proper alignment, small gradients, small transition, potentially nice animation transitions and things. That overall is much more valuable for a company or for a client or someone than someone that doesn't have that or just do the regular output of what the AI is providing, if that makes sense. So that's the situation so far, I would say. Why is this not an option? Do I have? I don't. Why is that not an option? I'm supposed to have an option here. That is supposed to be an option. Right there. But yeah. And then going back to the initial thing, basically the fact that right now, I'm gonna air quote this, I can really visually do stuff on my own in the code, that is, I would say, a game changer for myself, but also for anyone else that is trying to achieve something in building a product. So for that person that tried to use AI to generate something, and AI couldn't do anything for them, that is a result of this. That, like, that's the differentiator, at least for me. And the thing that I said in the beginning of that rambling, even though when I started in November last year, I technically didn't have any Swift knowledge, any code knowledge, any Xcode knowledge whatsoever. I did still have a former background in development, a high interest in code, and 7 failed attempts at learning it. So I had some bits and pieces here and there that are good enough, debatable, good enough for me to communicate with some of the devs that I'm communicating with, but also understand what needs to happen in some HTML and CSS pages, in some JavaScript files, to fully understand how things are supposed to work or not work and why. And therefore, when I'm looking at the outputs that we have in there, and I'm looking at, okay, so this has been like changed from the scroll view to the thing that I had like earlier, it was a list, and now we have a lazy VStack instead of a regular VStack. That's interesting. It's taking a for each, so that's good. It's my nemesis of fucking for loop, but that's fine. And it's going through the entire thing. It's getting the raw view properly with the live fragrance, which is exactly what we need. And so all of that makes sense in my head enough to understand what is supposed to happen that this person probably cannot understand based on that statement right here. So I would say that's the reason why it didn't work for them. If they had product design background, designer background, even project manager background potentially to help them like flesh out what they were trying to do, maybe that could work. But yeah, the thing is, I would love to watch this. I haven't. I should have. I know. I would love to watch this. We can't watch this on stream as always because of music and other things. And just see if we could create the podcast app that they were looking for based on my own knowledge. At the end of the day, I'm not really reading that article, so I don't know exactly what they are looking for, but it's just, it seems like a very, very simple and basic app to create. Like, it's a podcast app, so there is not a lot of things in there. You can't really use the RSS feed anymore because that doesn't really exist. What? You know, it's yeah. Also, they have like updated to Cloud Max, which is really bad. Like, that's I'm really reading the article halfway through, so that doesn't help. But you don't need the highest tier. Yeah, you don't need the highest tier anyways for any of the thing that I'm building. For example, the initial thing on Can first version was done entirely through Claude by doing copy paste in between the two apps. So, you know, eh. Yeah, that's wrong. But also, yeah. Delvin, hi, welcome in. I'm tired. That's about it. Yeah. I'm tired. Everything is tired with me. How are you? How have you been? I also feel like this is probably some sort of a bait-y article in a way to, and probably something that would be really good for me, for example, um, showcasing some stuff. Like in the comment, I could post a comment, reply, and saying, well, I didn't have any, the thing that I'm building works. And because that person doesn't, apparently, they couldn't. So yeah, that's the thing that it could be like a marketing stunt for me to say, well, you can't, but I can. But that's kind of not my vibe anyways, so I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, can this fucking load the preview? Xcode? That's what I'm looking for right now. Just load the preview. Just give me the preview. Oh, I'm good. I'm tired. It's just I had a social event yesterday. I went to have dinner with some of my neighbors, um, and I'm just uh, I'm tired. Even though it's like the next day and so on, but goddamn, goddamn, I'm tired. But health-wise, we did. So far, everything is okay. Health is good, I think. Kinda. Tension-wise is pretty good on paper. Let me see if I can see that link. Aha. Um, oh yeah, it's too dark of a background, yeah. you put you pull that full brightness. This is fine. It's working. That's pretty nice. You have nice transitions. Readability wise, it's pretty fine, depending on who you are working with and the internal team that is working on this. 125% is usually what I'm going for to make sure that readability is there. So you could just bump everything by 1.5 or 1.25 to just, make things a bit bigger. Might be an option. And then here, if that is the, like, if that's the thing in question that you had, I'm gonna just go back to 0 so that we have the right sizes. Overall, it seems pretty good. The only thing that I would say is that these nodes are really 2013, at least for me. This is something that I used to use, not necessarily this specific use case, but like Node.js or Particle.js is the particles. Then that is exactly what I used to have in my absolute first website. So then, knowing that for me it is exactly the same thing, I would say maybe not. Maybe do it in a way that is like subtler or doesn't really follow the same pattern. Again, knowing the fact that right now, right this instant, you have the ability to use Unicorn Studio to build things and have like a something in the background that is more unique, more like customizable, interesting, potentially like different than the competition, different than things that people have already seen, you will have the ability to just, play with things and create them in a way that just make you stand out and doesn't make you feel like a 2013 website. That's will be my first thing. The second thing is going to be overall layout wise, you're pretty good. You have your header and your content and so on. The internal things, I don't know exactly what you want me to take a look at specifically, but there are stuff that just makes no sense. Like, for example, these ones have blur effect in the background, and these one don't. They have only a hover effect, but they are not like blurred. I would rather have them blurred so that it doesn't really bother me for reading. Like I basically need to move out the fucking nodes to then read the text. So that's really not great. Um, Other than that, I don't know. Give me a bit more context on this. Um, because you said that it's too dark background, which is potential. That's it's debatable. um, well, if that's a dark background website, then that makes sense. These fields needs to be dark, like darkened for sure. Huh. You do have a background officially that is not supposed to be white. Do I have something that is overriding your design? Yes. That would be better already. To not really bother me. But I'm not so personally I'm not bothered by the black background. So that's gonna be the first thing. The other thing is just looking at things. I don't know if I understand exactly what I'm looking at and what these things do. And I also see a lot of repetitions, as in your digital modernization assistant, you're repeating the same phrases almost on every pass. Like, even though these ones are a bit different at the top, like you have AI driven recommendation and here you don't, but it's basically the same sentence. You have the same icon, there is something that is useless about this section. So for me, I would probably go and remove that, because you have your header at the top. So you already have the whole thing that you need to have like right in the view. That makes a lot more sense to me, rather than having, you know, um, that all the time as a duplicate-ish. The thing that I had in mind when I was looking at this one specifically is I don't know how this work, and I don't really know what the output is going to be. So I also see that the content is really tiny. You have like 4 fields and a half. Yeah. That should be in the dark background. Mm. Yeah. Mm. So going back to what I was saying, because brain is someone else. I'm not bothered by the black background in the slightest. I'm more bothered by the fact that most of your interactive elements are white compared to dark mode. So that's something that I would change. Like making sure that these things are in dark mode for sure, based on the fact that you seemingly are using pre-made components. From what I can tell, you probably have them in dark mode somewhere. The other thing that is kind of bothering me, but not entirely, but kinda, is the fact that your whole website has a scroll view, and then your central content has a scroll view as well. It would be easier in terms of build composition to have your whole website being a single scrolling element with sticky sidebar and headers, rather than having like a dual scroll. Because this one, for example, if I'm scrolling down and I'm keep scrolling, I'm just scrolling, but I'm not taking a break on here. It doesn't register that I'm at the top, and therefore it doesn't really go up. So same thing here. If I keep scrolling down, nothing happens. If I stop and I scroll down, because I've reached the bottom of the center scrolling thing, I can then scroll to the website. That makes no sense to me. So I would rather you have something that just is one single scrolling element like this than two encapsulated into each other, just because it makes less sense in terms of constructions. That's a detail. That is a detail. But yeah, most of the things are okay. Same thing for the generation. Like once you have generated something, you do have a mostly white view, or at least on my browser, you have a mostly white view, which isn't necessarily the thing that you want to have on a dark mode interface. That's fine. If the current client company that you're working with isn't necessarily happy with the content and the output, or the darkness of things, how things are looking, and so on. Let me see if I can just find this. You have your background color that is around here. If you just moved the lightness in HSL to like 10% or 12%, that might be enough to like sway them into, oh yeah, no, that's fine. That's a good enough amount of I understand the layout and the composition. Potentially, I don't know. It depends. Like this one. Where's this? Here. That's not the right one. What do you mean private review? As in thing I can't show on stream? God damn. Send it to me. Like, you could be here. It's not necessarily good, but, you know, you have like a darker-ish mode, not really good. I don't like these colors, to be honest. Specifically because I fucked up the borders to make them like way lighter. But yeah, Kira, hi, welcome in. Welcome back. How are you? How have you been? How's everything? So yeah, I might say change the background color to have something that is a bit lighter and match what your current company is looking for. But then again, it doesn't really bothers me. The only thing that is kind of weird is that it's blue. Everything is blue, which is fine, but everything is blue. And you might benefit from something like a different version of gray rather than using blue. So these ones are really bad. I don't think this is the best representation for what you're looking for, but like if you go with a gray or mauve or slate, which is my base color, which is a blue-based gray for your whole content, you will have something that is a bit more neutral overall, and then you will have the ability to just highlight the content that is necessary for the user to pay attention to in a way easier, in a much easier way, god damn it, in a much easier way, by just having the thing in color rather than having the thing in blue, in an overall blue thing. If we go into the Tailwind color palette thingy, I think it's this one. If your color is roughly blue, and that's your color, you can see how my background and the cards and the things are not necessarily changing much. They do have and they do take a smidge of that color so that gray is a bit purpley, but they are not like fully purpley in. Like, it's really, really simple. and it just helps, just makes sense. So that to me is one of the reason as well. But I don't see that as way too dark. So I don't know exactly what they are looking for, expecting from you on this one. So you tell me. You tell me. I see, Sturdy. I see. Um, pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know about the cap. I think that's the only thing that I'm like, I don't know. But I get it. Uh, the reason why I don't know is because it repeats your name over and over again. So is it necessary? Probably not. Does it help anchor the view? Yes. Um, like the viewer would recognize that purple cap really easily across a slew of other emotes. So that's pretty good. The faces, the emotions are really good. I recognize a lot of them, mainly because you know. I mean, you know. But they are really good. I think, as I said last time, there is something that needs to happen in terms of the way that they are facing. So some of your emotes are facing this way, some of them are facing this way, that way, I guess. And I would rather all of them look in the same direction rather than have um, different interest points. They kind of do. They kind of do. I agree. But like the ban one is looking at the streamer, the give is looking at the streamer, the shrug is looking at the streamer, and the stare is looking at the streamer. All the other ones are looking at the chat or inside of the chat, which is not exactly what you want. It depends. Like the hearts should be on the other side for me, for the same reason. Um,
Endless.
yeah, that's about it. It's pretty good though. It is pretty good.
Drink!
There's also a thing that is like, that's a me thing. Don't worry about it. What? Let me see if I do. Oh, I don't think I do. Oh, I don't think I do. Um, I'm unsure now. I am unsure. I don't think from here I have access to my fucking emotes anyways. Um, yeah, I don't have access to key cheese emotes. Based on who you are and what your level of partner, you have the ability to provide emotes in a flip way. So someone could provide an emote in one direction, and then the user could decide if it goes in one way or the other. That, again, that was one of our initial points with the initial eye emote. The thing is, the reason why I also don't really like the cap is because if you use that with the flipped version, Stony as a name is going to be flipped as well, and therefore there will be like less readability, less understanding, less things. So that's kind of bad. I would rather you have something that is recognizable on the cap that can be recognized in both directions rather than having something that is text based in an emote. Yes, I know, but still. But no, you're right. You're right. Holy fuck. What the? Why am I so tired? But yeah, no, other than that, I think it's pretty good. Other than the fact that some of them should be, could be, might be better to be flipped because they need to either look at the chat or look at the streamer, all of them. That makes more sense. But yeah. I'm looking at Plush's emotes. That's a bit of a different situation. I could remove I could see the text removed. I just think based on how the cap is designed, you need something there right now. And but you know, overall it's good. Overall it's good. I can see that in small scale, don't worry about it. Again, the most important thing is the face. If the face is understood or understandable, you should be good and you should have most of the content understood. So, you know, that's the thing. Did I just turn into a slideshow again? God damn it. So again, I think like most of the ones that you have are good. God damn. You need that. You need that. For sure. For sure.
Hi, gay.
Exactly. Just that. That is necessary. Looking at all of these right now, what I'm doing is making sure that my understanding and the way that I'm thinking of or about things makes sense. If you look at this one, for example, and let's remove the fucking ads on the side, there are 2.5, 3, 4. Let's say that there are like 4 of these in that whole set that are looking the other way. So this one is looking cool. This one is looking ashamed, I would say. This one is scared or something else. It depends. And then maybe that one could be considered as looking the other way, but not really. Like these two, I'm not sure, because they are kind of looking up straight at the user. All the other ones are kind of looking at the streamer. So overall, it kind of makes sense. And some of them being like the other way makes sense. The dead one being looking up the other way makes a lot of sense. This one makes a lot of sense. This one makes a lot of sense as well, and so on. But overall, there is this kind of common theme of it looks at the streamer or the chat, whichever way needs to be, or it doesn't look at all. But yeah, no, overall, I think you're good. I think you're pretty good. I wouldn't remove the text on the cap. Not yet, at least. I think it's okay. You can still remove that later. It's not really the worst thing to get rid of. But yeah, if it makes sense to you, yes. If it makes sense to you and it seems good, all left is fine. It's no. Based on how the cap is designed, no, it's not gonna be any like more complex or different. Sorry, I just saw something for a split second. Huh, interesting. Unique JS. I don't know, man. Are you looking for something that I shared? What are you asking? Because unique doesn't seem to be something. Or are you looking for the thing that I shared earlier? Oh no, that. My bad. My bad. This. Sorry. Wow, my brain is fried. It is fried. Have a good look, Logan. Unicorn Studio, yes. Unicorn. Unicorn. It's really nice. It is really nice. So we've had some stuff. We've had some stuff on the likes this weekend, that are interesting. Not much though. We kind of stopped. We stopped somewhere along the line of. I think here we kind of looked at this last week. Not really, but kind of with Techie. Kind of. But yeah, other than that, we've had so this happened. The newest version of Twitch is introducing like a bots shadow badge. That real bots, like stream elements in the chat right now, is a bot that is validated by the streamer, which is myself. So you have a better badge and you recognize that this is like an automated thing that is from me, by me. It's my choice. So that makes sense. It's an interesting thing to have. We've had this thing happen as well for the Apple event of next week, of showcasing a peacock thing, which means colorful, I guess, brilliant and whatever. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I don't know what the peacock has to do with the Apple event, but we will see. There was other things I saw earlier. So this, for example, is a very interesting way of presenting content and stacks, which I don't really like. The reason why I don't like it is because of how it moves. When you are hovering, you have like all of the content that is just cycling through until you click and drag to move things around. But that means that the one that is like ending up at the front of the stack isn't what you are used to see. So that to me makes no sense. Like if I'm organizing things on stack, I want to make sure that the thing that I'm seeing every day is the same thing. Because if the thing right here, for example, is the cover, and then when I'm releasing is Geisha, then that makes no sense. Like there is something wrong about it, but the stack is one of the new pattern of 2023. So, you know, it's an interesting thing to follow through. We've had this thing, which I'm gonna steal. I'm telling you now. I'm gonna steal this thing. That right there, I'm stealing this. I don't know, we'll see it. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. That is happening. A lot of people are leaving Spotify for a lot of reasons. I'm almost willing to do such thing. The reason is that Apple Music is really useful for and really simple to use and navigate through now, because you have the transfer from Spotify. So they're using something, I forgot exactly the name of their partnership with another company that is giving you the ability to just take the music from the platform that you're currently using and then porting it directly to Apple Music based on their catalog, which is really interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I do like the interface of Apple Music a bit better than the one of Spotify, but I only have like things, some artists, some playlists that I have created that are only on Spotify. And the guy that has created these playlists and things is or doesn't have access to the same API anymore, so he can't do what he had. So that's kind of the thing that is holding me back. And then because I'm using DMCA free music on Spotify, it's also probably not gonna be on Apple Music. So we'll see. But you know, interesting things. Interesting things. I've been, as we said, I've been seeing like a lot of people doing and interacting and creating a lot of Swift UI related content, obviously, because that's what my feed is all about right now. And these people, Xavier here, has been doing a really good job at creating like a dragging list element, which if I could steal, I will. And I will probably do steal that at some point for the notes in the perfumes, because it looks pretty good. It seems pretty nice, but we will see. We've had things like this. We talked about that so many times that I don't even know if I can just mention it again. These illustration types is one of my first blowing up tweet on Twitter. I'm not the original poster of these things, but it's always fun to see that these type of illustration that I did in 2021, 2022, that gave me like 250,000 views or something for no reason, just are still popular. So that's a really good thing. And these, and trend specifically, is moving away from pastel colors. So there is more saturation coming in slowly, but still. So that's an interesting thing. Not a pattern just yet, but still a pattern that is coming in. We've had this thing that was really fun. Is shaders, as always. I'm saying that every time. Shaders are really cool, but this is really interesting of a shader rendering. There is a wavy pattern on top of the grid, plus the reactivity of light around the element. So that's a very, very cool thing. This one is something that I forgot who exactly talked about animations before. I feel like this is like a 3 months ago, 4 months ago type of situation. This is an interesting relationship and presentation of how two animations could be used. Yeah, hi, welcome on in. You good thing. That's animation for you. How are you? This is a very interesting way of presenting two things that work. So the first one, this one, which is really simple and really tiny, just has this two sections, and that's about it. Like you just pass transition and opacity, and then you're done. And then the other one is using pass transition, opacity, rotation, position, and blur to give you that whole organic transition appearing situation. Both of them are good. Both of them would match. The second one is a bit too much, but it's a good showcase of how a very tiny, subtle transition, addition, and change can 100% impact how your users perceive something happening in the app. So this is more playful than this. This is like clinical. It's validated, even though a bit animated is something. But with a bit of blur, a bit of transition, a bit of rotation here and there, it adds up. So, that's an interesting thing. I think they have created like more similar things in the past. I have seen some of their previous animations and transitions that could be interesting to, follow through and listen and get as inspiration, as always. So here is the link so that you can just, take a look. Just take a look. Yeah. That's the thing. We also have seen this, which I like a lot. This background thing is really interesting. I know mostly how it's done, which is really interesting for me to think in dev terms already. And like that's neat. That's a mesh gradient from iOS 17, 18. I think 18. 18 was mesh gradient. Congrats. Congrats on the animation. I tried to do something with the Maze Gradient earlier last week, 2 weeks ago, and it's good, but there is something missing, and I feel like this is a good option to get like the background blend with, because most of the time when you are moving the points of the mesh gradients, you end up with the edges not touching the edges anymore, and so you end up with this rage and things. So that's interesting. Anyways, moving on. This one was really nice. It's a very interesting transition slash shaders slash 3D rendering of potentially realistic looking ish wave and mounts, rocks formations. I don't know. It looks really nice. I like it. That's it. That's all I had to say. This one. Mizzy, hi, welcome on in. How are you? How's the day going? This one is pissing me off because I don't want it, but I love the product design physical that they have done. So this is something that would be magnetic on the side. Welcome back. On the side of things, and then they have added this massive knob. That's wild. I think this is an interesting rendering. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is something that they would create, but it's neat. It's neat. Anyways, moving on. This popped in on my feed, and it was interesting. They have. What do you mean you listening and then you drop in the chat? Don't text and drag. This whole AI generated video thing with the characters of paintings animating with facial features that are absolutely not matching the paintings themselves, but just more traditionally now type of people. That was my reaction. And yeah, Kitse is really aligned with me on these every time. It's like it's just it looks so bad. It's kind of sad. It looks good in terms of like the creation. The videos themselves are really good looking, but the concept is shit and the output is kind of bad. But I understand how some of these things could be used in the future. Again, this is the worst it's going to be. It's always going to be better. And there is a point where we wouldn't be able to tell if something is AI generated or not. So, you know, that's a thing. That is a thing. Going back in, I have like a ton of these in the. Yeah, and this is kind of for you, so I'm gonna wait. I mean, it's not for you, but like, you just went away. This is something that is in the discussion of iOS dev in the past few days, I would say, since the announcement of iOS 26. Basically, there has been some changes in the App Store and how the App Store itself is processing the App Store screenshots. And so these are more recommended to have like bigger text. Like this is a bit tinier text, and so in that whole feed there is like a lot more of these that are in the like sections. But yeah, no, overall it's a nice thing. This one was for obvious reason. I didn't have a choice. I was forced to like it. I don't think I have anything to say about it. I think that's it. I think you understand. I think I think you understand. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. So, same thing here. This one was really, really good in the creation of this regular, very regular illusion visual mindfuck thing of creating 3D in a flat surface. They have done a very good work at transitioning stuff, which is really nice. And yeah, that's about it. That's the only thing that I wanted to talk about on this one. We've had other things that I've seen before. This one is really cool. I like the concept a lot. I don't know if this is as useful as it looks to be. Let me explain. If you have a field that is 2 hours and 30 minutes, and when you click on edit, it splits into two to give you the option to change the hours or change the minutes. It feels like a bit of an issue because if I tap on the field itself in like this configuration and I want to change that to like 1 hour and I just click in the center, what happens? Is it going to expand and select where I tapped? But since I tapped in the center to tap on something, I'm tapping on nothing because there is nothing in there. And then if I know that it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, in terms of clicks with that use case, I need to click here and then click on the 2 to change it into 1 or 1 into a 2 or whatever, and then click on this one to change the 30 into 15. Whereas if I had something that was one single field that then expanded automatically, I would have the ability to just say 1.15, then press enter, and then it could expand into 1 hour, 15 minutes. But there is something that is interesting about the concept of splitting and the concept of re-merging the content later. But, you know, just wanted to mention that potential issue in terms of UX related stuff. That's about it. That's about it. This one was kind of the funny thing about what we talked about last week. OKLCH this, OKLCH that, OKLCH everywhere, for everyone, all the time. And we've been talking about it since 2022. And it's kind of fun for me to see that people are finally figuring out that it exists. But, you know, it happens. In the things that are in there, and that to me are a pattern that a lot of people are going to pick on really, really soon, this is something that people are slowly bringing back. So this is something that we used to have in games, and it moved away from games right now to go into regular UI. Ogres, the creator of this shot specifically, is someone that is influential enough in the design sphere to set trends. So this is something that we will see happen soon-ish. What I mean by that is we now have the ability to set concentric circles or concentric corners into specific elements. And it could be concentric at the top, but non-concentric at the bottom to still keep something that makes sense. So you end up with a massive radius in the top right and top left corner. But then when you look at the center, because it's not the edge of the card itself, it's the regular 8 point, 12 point, whatever points they have right here. So that's the thing. I feel like this is going to be a pattern soon-ish. God dang, don't die now. And yeah, keep that in mind when you're building something, or when you're building or seeing other people build stuff. That pattern of concentric top unconcentric bottom or the invert is a pattern. Yeah, that's it. It's just a pattern. And then guess what these people are talking about? Yes, you guessed it. It's OKLCH again. So everyone is talking about it. Going back to the App Store screenshot that I was talking about a second ago, so the new update is the text that is inside of the image of your App Store screenshot is read by Apple to used as keyword. So if you have something inside of the screenshot of the app that is in text, the App Store is going to scan the screenshot of the content of the iPhone design that you have and the text that is at the top. So what that means is when you are building your iPhone screenshots, you want to have the content of the content and the content of the text making sense SEO wise to ensure that the people that are looking at the App Store for looking at an app that does what you are building figure out and find exactly what they were looking for in the first place because the text is the right text. So for Techie, for example, there is a need for the community that is going to be used as the App Store screenshot to be something related to the creation of community and circles on the app. For me, I have in my screenshots things that are related to the dictionaries and the content of the dictionary. So that way, the scan of the App Store is basically looking at, oh, this app is a vocabulary based on dictionary for Japanese. So that makes sense. That's my main point. That is my main point. That was for Techie. I don't think Techie is lurking right now, but that's a thing that they could use for the app icon. The cat is really interesting, and that could be really cool to have as an animation thing. And that was that's French. So obviously, I'm against it. Uh, but that's one of the things that is like kind of interesting to see, as in the text that is here is going to be scanned, but all the text that is here is going to be scanned as well, and therefore there is a need for something that is readable. So some of these are not necessarily good, but some of these are really good because that the App Store is kind of feasible and kind of readable here and there. So that's a small detail. Small detail. This one, same thing. I don't like it because it has like different colors, and OCR has a very hard time reading these types of text, specifically this one. Like the black one is going to be red, and therefore there is a high probability for the scan of that page to say ask AI to your note, not proofread, or the off notes. Future might be skipped. So that's an interesting thing to know and note. So yeah. And then that was for Yan for the design itself, because we both know, we both like it. It makes sense. We've seen that some dogs are more aerodynamic than others. That's it. And in the good news, Cat, this is for you if you're still lurking. I don't know. You might be. In the beta 32 of OBS, so you're not there yet. It's in beta. Don't update. But for anyone that is a streamer, but Cat specifically, because I know that you have some issues with plugins, there is now a new thing for the plugin manager inside of OBS to give you the ability to just disable a plugin that is breaking your whole setup. So when OBS is crashing and then restarting in safe mode, you can then go in there, uncheck something, and say, well, maybe this is the plugin that I just added that is making the whole OBS setup crash. So let's just relaunch without it to see if it now works. And if that was the case, you can just disable it or uninstall the fucking thing if necessary. But that's like right now in beta, thanks to Finite as always, and two other people that I don't know. And that is coming to OBS 32. So we are soon to get this, and it's going to be useful. It's kind of similar to what Andy has done for their plugin manager plugin, but now it's going to be built in. And then Chris, you asked about video generation thing, and I was looking for Kat last time, and now I found her. So here you are. That is some of the animation things that I was thinking when we talked about it last week. And there is other thing that I shared in the Discord specifically for you. These two are pretty much interesting. So they are in the Discord. And so basically here, this is done with Touch Designer. It's going through with the music and the sample. The things are automated, meaning that based on the sample of the music that is currently playing, there is a specific visual that is linked to it. So it's not like hand gesture that define the content of the visuals, but it's an interesting concept nonetheless. But yeah, that's the main thing. And the second one that I shared is a bit of a more visual heavy thing. You need to click on it to look at it, because otherwise it's not going to do anything. Every single tile, when they are moving up, they make a sound. And so it's just capturing the camera, and wherever the user is moving their hands, their heads, their whatever, anytime that there is something happening and that the pixels are changing, basically it triggers the trigger and the sounds. So that's a very interesting thing as well. Highly recommend you to take a look at it and get inspired for that thing that you were working on. But yeah, that's the thing. Lastly, Stony, I have stuff for you, and it's really sad. Let me see if I done the whole thing. I think I'm really close to the end. Yeah, that's the end. So cool. Stony, the next segment is for you. Can you believe that? So that guy specifically is currently creating an automated setup for their media libraries. And so they have been creating a whole thing using Plex as their container. And it's really interesting to watch the whole series. I know it's on TikTok, so you will probably never watch that. But they are going through the whole OMLab setup with the viewers and explaining everything, how things are supposed to work, what is supposed to be set up, what are the credentials, what are the things, and so on. Man brave, huh? We're going in. So yeah, they are using Plex, which is kind of sad. However, in that whole setup, in that whole system that they are talking about, they have showed something that is called Overseer. And I don't know if you know this, and I don't think you do, or maybe you do, but I don't know. But Overseer is an open source project, which is really interesting. And based on what they have and how it's set up, I don't know how it's set up too much, but there is in there, or at least in that TikTok video that I was looking at a second ago, they do have some sort of where is this thing available situation. Like that's the reason why I kept this guy in my likes and no, that's my repost and favorites, specifically on this one, because of where it is. What is the difference with overseer or something? Whatever, I forgot where it is. It doesn't really matter. That is the type of thing that is really interesting because they, in the search, from what I understand, again, I don't understand much, but from what I understand, Overseer is giving or asking, providing recommendation and request from the user to the admin of the Plex server. In there is an option, from what I've seen, that is, I'm asking for something, and while I'm asking for something, I can see where it is available, which, remembering of what we've talked about for No Mercy, there is a need for something that gives you the, oh, you don't have this in your server, but we know that it exists on this platform that maybe you have, maybe you don't have, I don't know. But that's something that could be integrated. And so going through their code, if that's something that could be, extracted from your point of view and used internally from No Mercy with a different version things for how they track what is available where and how and so on. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. That's what I discovered 3 days ago, and it seems interesting. So I just want to share it with you. That's the thing. That's the thing. It could be good. It could be good. I just don't really know what is available and how you could integrate that open source project into your open source, not open source ish project. But it might be good. So yeah, that's the thing. I think it could be really useful. And then when you're looking at the overall setup of the thing, that could be the not server admin view of the search, as in from the user, like family member, obviously, and non-admin. I'm going into the server, I'm looking for something in the search, it's telling me that we don't have it in the server, so I can ask for it, I can request it through Overseer. And so that could be interesting for you. It could also be interesting to take a look at how they have done the design. It looks really similar to some of the things that we have already. So, familiarity and so on. But there are stuff in there that are potentially useful to just get inspired, take a look at, you know. And it's free. So obviously, yeah, free stuff. Would never say no. Would never say no. But yeah, I saw that, I was interested, and I thought it could be really good for integrations. Yeah, but there are stuff that I don't have an idea about. I wouldn't have done that on my own. It's also potentially more complex to achieve based on the fact that I can't know exactly what you have as a poster in the background. But it's probably using the same thing. It's probably using your first. It's not the cover image. I forgot the thumbnail. Not really. It's not the poster, but poster. Yeah, thumbnail. I'm gonna call that a thumbnail. It's using the thumbnail, and it's using the first wide angle screenshot of the thing. I don't know. It could, I don't know. I don't know. Backdrop, that's the thing. Thank you. Like, there is a level of simplicity that I do like when I'm looking at this, for example, of this is a movie and we have it. This is a movie and we don't have it. This is a series and we have it. Like, that feels like a more simpler environment. There is an issue with the padding and the radius and things, but that's just a me thing. It doesn't really matter. I do think that your version of this is a series and there is like 50 episodes as of 58 is a better pattern for series. But overall, the badge is probably what I've done in the first place in some of the first designs. So, yeah, And then I'm looking at this one, and this one is really bad, so I'm not sad about it, but Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah. 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 It would need to have a completion thing. The issue with that is that if you get like a completion, same thing. If you get like a completion thing like that, and let's say you start right about here, and this is a 10 episode series, and your completion is there, right? That's where you left the thing. You are missing 2. Okay, but let's say this is a 1,000 episode thing, and you're missing 100. It's gonna be like this. It's gonna feel like you have everything already. So that is kind of bad. I don't like it. So the numbers is an easier thing to have. But yeah, I'm seeing this, and this is an interesting cartouche. That's very French word. And I do like this that we talked about before, of this is where it's available, and so that's why the overseer thing specifically. I wish I had, not that. I wish I had less titties in that feed to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have. I did. I think. Or that's a mistake. No. I'm gonna keep my titties. I'm gonna keep liking titties for sure. There has been less titties, to be honest. Lately, it's been mostly ass. For no reason. Yeah, there's a cat, indeed. Different cat, but yes. Yes, indeed. Right about here. Different cat. No, the one that I'm looking for is that same guy that we were on a second ago here, but then this one was talking about Plex thingy, which was interesting, but it's not the one that I'm looking for. I don't think so. And it's really hard to figure out what he's talking about when we're looking at the fucking thumbnails. I mean, I get it, I do the same thing, but golly. It might be the one. That might be the one. I don't know. I don't think so. I also don't have the fucking sound right now, so I forgot. Yeah, I think that's the thing I've seen specifically when he was looking for something, as in right here, where in the filters. Oh, for fuck's sake! I hate TikTok for this. Here, so in the filters, you can have the information of the release dates of wherever it is, a studio, whatever. But you have this thing, which I, I do think you need, Stony, specifically, of streaming services, and then you decide your country of origin or your country of VPNs, and then it gives you that whole list. And so I know you want to add it. This is basically why I gave you or talked about Overseer in the first place. It's just because it's open source, because they have this as a default. They probably have some sort of an API key or system that gives you this, and therefore you could just use it, and you would have access to this without having to build it, and that's the good news. But yeah, that's the only reason. That is the only reason, and their overall output is pretty good. So like that's the main point. It is how it works. It is. That's how it works. You find something you like, and then you say, "Cool, I like it. Let me do that. Let me copy your code." But yeah, no, that's an interesting overall project. It's it might be interesting to integrate. That's all I'm saying, and could benefit highly. So yeah, that's the thing. We've had a lot of TDs on threads. I'm not gonna lie, there has been like TDs much, much more than usual, to be honest. Much more TDs than usual. I'm not complaining, but still, still. So yeah, that was for Chris mainly, into touch designer things. I'm guessing most of the not good, but like potential inspiration that you need to have for your visual creation thing is going to go through touch designer, and how things are going in the tutorials, and how people can understand how to do stuff. So Cat right here is doing a lot of hand related animations, a lot of really interesting representation of content, but just playing with how like hand tracking work, playing with how things can be interacted with, and so on. So for music, for 3D shapes, and so on, it's interesting. You can see how, for example, here, the way that you understand that your fingers are touch points, this is really good, I would say. Like, you can see cursors as in your different fingers. That's a very interesting point. Simple is not simple, but like simple enough to create. And there is like very much a lot of options to create things. I don't know exactly how that works. That's pretty good. That is really good. So yeah, as always, Cat is a nice account to follow and to check for inspiration. The media only is good enough. So Yeah, use that. There is like another one that I can't show you. For many reasons. Many reasons. I just refound them. Oh no, I refound them here. Will it load? It's the question. It doesn't. Right there. This one that we talked about a long time ago is also really interesting for you, Chris, for the creation of visual hand-related animation and transitions. It's neat, it works, it's a cool representation of something that could be done with a touch platform, but also like a hand gesture across or in the air. This is something for touch-related platforms. It is old. This is like very, very old, but Aurelian is not the original creator of this one. That is for sure. I hate that. I see. Have a good computer issues things. I will probably not be there when you come back. Have a good rest of your day. Probably. Probably for sure. Yeah. So that's the thing that is interesting, and we do like it. There is like a ton of very cool rendering of visuals lately. We talked about this website before. We've seen that last year. It's nice. It's simple, but it's interesting. You know, it makes sense. It makes sense. So, yeah, overall, these are the type of thing that I've seen. I don't think there is a lot more. And I don't think I have a lot more in me. So, yeah, we might do that. We might do that. Yeah. Please share. Please share. I like how you say questionable design. What's questionable about it? Huh, interesting. Um, so there are things that makes no sense to me. As in, this sidebar is basically the same as this, but I have access to the content. So anything in computer streaming is right there. So basically you are loading me into this good looking UI and good looking page, which is, you know, it's fine. And then when I'm clicking on this section, I'm getting the exact same option to re-navigate afterward. So unless I know that I can click on product I use to go back to the first page that I've seen, I'm never gonna go back to that first page because, I have access to all of the sections really quickly without really, having to pay attention. So I don't think that is necessary, or I don't think that is necessary. That depends on you. That depends on what you want to do in there. But that's a small detail. The other thing that I see is going to be the amount of usage you have of that material, where everything is using that material. All of your cards have the exact same blurring the background, highlight at the top, shadow, and then once you've pressed them, they are like recessed and so on. Again, not saying that it's a bad thing, but it might be overused. And you might want to get something that is a bit different, a bit more making sense. From my little understanding of this thing, but also, like it happens. I would say these cards are really good. And if these cards could be a tiny bit smaller and being here 3x3 in the rows for each of the elements with the buttons for the buy now situation, I would have all of my sections and a cute little interaction thing with all of my entries, because you already have these no background, like transparent background situation for all of the images. The processing is kind of done, except this one. I'm saying that when I'm looking at something that is not bad. But it's an option, and I feel like it would make the whole view a bit better to just have the card like this with the element, the title, the sub brand, whatever, and the button. Makes the card a bit more thicker, a bit heavier, taller, whatever, until you end up with that. Might be empty in some situations, but in most situations. But yeah, God, that hurts. So yeah, other than that, it works. I'm guessing that these are, I was about to say these are genius links, and they are, so yeah, that's good. Other than that, it's just the background. I don't know about the background. I don't mind it, but I don't know about the background. So that's a nice transition. Minimum will be 16 categories, then you're good, yeah. Specifically, if you do what I just said, with 3 per line, you end up with at least this per category, which means that you will see 6 when you open the first category right away, which makes more sense. So yeah, I would do that. That's my first change. Potentially change the background here. How? Good question. Maybe. Maybe I want a container. Container. Huh, fuck. I was about to say if I change this, it's going to change everywhere, which is exactly what I want to avoid. So, yeah. I like that. Like the deep dark. It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, I did brain focus. Yes. Hmm. I'd do that. I'd rather have no first screen, that's my first thing, and then have these cards for the items in order to get like more per view, because you are basically losing space. That's not true, but you are losing space by the amount of white space you have right around here. Like, even if you had this thing, this scroll view, be a flex, like a grid with two elements, you still have enough space to get these cards horizontally, but side by side, and therefore have like roughly 6 on your first opening. If you get these cards instead, you probably will be able to have 6 to 9, and you wouldn't see the buy button for the last 3, which gives you like a very much overview of the category really quickly, which I think would be better. The change that I just made with having this in a darker glass, I feel like that's better, but that's more like a me thing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But yeah, that's the main thing. I don't think there is anything else other than some corner radius issues for me. Oh, but you know, you should be good. That's pretty good. That's pretty bad though. Oh, I get it though. I understand. I understand. I know why. But goddamn. On this one, you're probably going to be at like 2 based on the distance. So in order to get like at least 8, you would need the container here to have your padding at 0.5, maybe? Yeah, maybe 0.5, and therefore here you're going to have your border radius at 16, which is basically 1 rem. Yeah, you know, that fucks up everything though. Don't worry about it. What if selected category will be just with background color from left to right, greenish? You mean what's this thing? I don't want to go too fast on this one. I know we seen it today, so that's the thing. Where is this bitch? We just saw you about like an hour ago. I'm looking for a very specific color, and that doesn't jump out to me right now, which is the reason why I can't find it. Is it like at the top? No. No. Is it on threads? No. Maybe. No, it's not. We saw it like it's in the VOD. That's the thing. It is in the VOD. Yeah, no, I think I know exactly what you're looking for, what you're talking about. But one second. Navigation. Navigation. You're basically talking about that. Not that, but basically that, right? You just want that as a colored thing, and you wanted this to be with a gradient, which is exactly what we saw earlier today. And right now I can't find it because I'm looking for something. Obviously can't find the things when you're looking for them. But yeah, and you were saying that you kind of think that it would be better to get something like this header title thingy. This is gonna be 22. It's gonna take bold, and then in order to get that overall, I'm gonna get this with a fill of white at 10%. At 10%. And the thing that you said was, oops, somehow you kind of want this. Somehow. Roughly. Not exactly. Kind of. And then maybe, you know. One of these. Maybe. No. I don't think color is gonna be making any changes or making any difference in the way that this thing is gonna be perceived. Specifically because of how like that whole page is looking. So yeah, Yeah. Ah, the one from last stream, which is this one, is a very interesting one. This is like a progress bar, so it's a bit of a different transition. It's also really glassy and so on, and the light itself is glowing through, so that makes sense. But ah, I'm biased on this. I have been seeing these specific things for I don't know, 8, 10 years now. So I, I I've built these in the beginning, of course. I have done so many, and it works. Again, it's a good representation of a tab bar selection. It's just I would need to get like this thing into not using the glass category like thing to get like the thing selected, but right now obviously I can't do that. And yeah, it's just like to me that glass, specifically that glass thing, kind of needs to be somewhere around here if I want to understand it as glass. It's not really feasible for light mode, that's for sure, but it works for dark mode, and therefore you have like a very much glassy transparency thing, which I think is better. Um, but yeah, meh, I don't know. I don't know. The fact that I can't find the thing that I liked earlier today pisses me off, though. That's that's really bad. It's really sad. I know I'm going through these things way too fast for what it is, but it's one of the first. I would say one of the first thing that I liked today, roughly. So it's supposed to be like right there, but it's not. And I probably just unliked it by mistake when we were talking about it earlier today. So that's bad. I've seen that message. Second. Oh god damn. Yeah, no, it's not there. For fuck's sake. Yeah, for me, I would get rid of the initial page because it is a click for nothing, so that's why I'm just removing it, and then use the initial page cards on the sub page with the buy button, just so you have something that is a bit more interactive with the gradient mask or the opacity gradient mask at the bottom. That's a very nice thing to have. It's a new trendy thing, so that's nice. And then you could have stuff like the looks like shit. And yeah, um, huh. Ooh. Huh. Performance and heavy lifting, I guess. That's your thing. It's interesting. Um it's interesting. Yeah, I mean I can understand glass and transparency blur is really, really complex to render for some machines. So I get it. Why is everyone doing the fucking thing now? And badly. That's sorry, I got distracted for a split second. Um I'm not gonna find it. I'm telling myself that. I'm telling you that. But yeah, no, that's about it. Like roughly what needs to happen is the change of navigation because there is one click for no reason and it's a one sub navigation which is interesting but also not necessary. So if we like there was this dot app thing, we talked about it before. It was it's pretty neat and it has this folder situation where that folder is gonna expand into this basically. So when you tap on it, it just expand. And then you leave in that folder and you have like the thing. And then you can pinch to go back there, but then from here, if you pinch again, you end up in the folders, files, things situation, and it was really interesting. I wish we had the fucking video about it because that video was really good, but it's not found. So, goddamn. But yeah, it's a. That's not the thing. That is not what we're looking for. Obviously, that's crazy. That's the thing that we're looking for, but that's not the fucking thing. I am pulling the numbers right now. That's what's happening. Um, this is the navigation thing, right? This is a GIF, so it's gonna be on repeat. But basically, there is a purpose here from going from the today view to the personality quiz and so on, because you can't really access these other folders from the opened view. Whereas for you, if I'm here, I can't access the content, so I'm going in for the content. And then from there, I can still navigate through all of my categories. So either you put like a back button, but that's like one click for no fucking reason, or you keep what you currently have with all the categories, but then your homepage makes no sense. So that's the thing for me. But yeah, no, that's about it. That's about it. Um, it should make your life easier as well to get like 3 or 4 items per row. Yeah. What do you have instead? A tab bar at the top? Like, do you have, well, I can stay there. Do you have one of these? Because if you just had that and it's like a scrollable version of this, then you should be good. Yeah. That might mean that some of the user that you have might expect you to be able to swipe horizontally, like between pages, like I can do here, for example. But yeah. You know, maybe. No. Would they appreciate it though? But no, you're right. They wouldn't really expect it. Specifically, if you have like that much categories in total, that's a lot. And your titles are not like the lightest titles that I've seen in years. So yeah. Like for me on mobile, you would need to rephrase things as in setup or PC setup, IRL equipment, gaming, home, or furnitures, kitchen, health, travel, board games, maybe. Yeah, snacks. Maybe. You make a good point with the mobile version, because yeah, that's the version of the card that I had in mind for here, basically. A short thing. Yeah, you need a back button. Even though you have the back button that is a system back button, you kind of need a back button on mobile. Nah.
TG_Khalil raided my stream with 13 viewers.
I'm about to get out of here. Goddamn! Thanks a lot for the raid, Khalil. Welcome on in. I hope your stream was well and good and so on. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm AOA. I'm the helping designer. If you have any design question, feel free to ask as always. However, I'm tired. So, this is gonna be a short raid, I guess. But walk on in. I hope you're good. Yeah. It's the risk. It is the risk. But, you know, it's fine. We're currently helping Kana in chat for this section of their website or this website that they're building, where they have a homepage with multiple categories with sections and content. And then in there, you have each of the items that are available in said things. However, in the desktop version, once they are in one of the categories, they still have access to all of the other categories as a quick access menu. But when you are on mobile, you lose that quick access menu on the top or on the side or somewhere. So for me, there is a need for something to either bring back that menu on mobile or remove it on desktop and just have a back button that forces the user to always just do the exact back and forth, which I think is a bad idea. Other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty. It works. Things works in all modes, which is what's important, right? But that is fine. The background is the GTA whatever city, and so because in some situation we have the characters that the person is playing in there, and we see the city, it's just blurred in some situation and unblurred in others, which is interesting to see. But yeah. I think it would make more sense if you start the website here, right? If you load the site there with all of the content that that person is creating, and you have like the scroll view and the things and whatever, and then you go in my content and you arrive here where you can see how the background just blurred. Whereas the other way around feels kind of, I get it. I get it. So yeah, kind of odd. I think a header, subheader tabs would make more sense on mobile to give your user the ability to just still navigate in between the categories, and then instead just have that with the header, and same thing here, like just these. So that removes one of the clicks. So it's just product I use. You send them directly into the most converting one. So there is, again, because this is a YouTuber and there is like content creation behind it, and there is like a need for conversion for these genius links. Obviously, these are affiliate links. If that person is usually making a lot of money through G Fuel or whatever they are using here. I forgot Gamer Subs, which right now as broken. It's broken. I broke the thing. That's my internet, don't worry about it. But yeah, if snacks and food is their most converting section because people are going there, that is where I would go by default. I would make sure that the user end up exactly where they are supposed to land, and convert, because that's the thing. It is not necessarily the same. No, we don't have that much blurred things in No Mercy because Stony doesn't like it. It's not. I know. But yeah, I don't know if you get my point on this one, with like conversion rate organization of the sections, because that way you know that people that are going in there, you know that they convert on Gamma Subs, therefore, you arrive on that first of all. That's the main thing. And then maybe the second one is the most converting one or the most rewarding one, which would be like the PC parts, because they're the most expensive things. So the commission they get from any of the buy-in, that could be the thing. But yeah. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, no, that mobile version is pissing me off though. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. The fact that you're forcing the user to do back, like one back to go to the category and then select the things, and back to go to the other categories, just, it makes no sense. So yeah, put a fucking segment control at the top, tab bar navigation, either at the top or at the bottom of the page core mobile version that contain the categories and then remove the first page. I really think that this is a waste of clicks. And that would make things faster, you know. Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense. Makes more sense. Makes way more sense. There is also, again, going back to what I said earlier with the like the names of things. Computer and streaming setup is long. IRL streaming and filming equipment is long. And so the shortest titles you can have, the better it's going to be. So setup or computer setup, because technically your computer is your streaming setup, even though in streaming setup there is also like your it's supposed to have like the camera and so on. So that makes sense. If I look at kit, because that's basically the same thing, right? If I go into my streaming setup or stream setup or starting kit option that I had as potentials, it's basically 6 products that I believe would be good enough for you to start streaming IRLs or whatever without having to spend too much. You buy whatever phone you have or want, like either an iPhone or an Android phone. You get one of the smallest Logitech light glow things, like the one that is clipping to your phone, basically. And then you get the mic that you can plug in. So with the Redmi's, like directly, because there is a fucking headphone jacks on this one, you can't. And then you get a tripod thing that is mounted. And lastly, if you wanted like to really, really stream better than what your phone can be or can do, you do a YOLO Live or YOLO Live box, YOLO box to just stream portably. And then you have like a streaming setup in less than $1,000, except this one because this one is a bitch. Less than $1,000 in total to get something that just makes sense. And you know, like that's something that makes sense. It is kind of, yes, it's kind of genius-ish things there. And so for my stream setup or my regular content, which I should change this because I haven't in a while, that's the concept again. Like I want to have the product itself and where to buy really quickly, and I kind of want to see everything really quickly. So for you, right now I'm not seeing much. So that's why I'm saying have them horizontally placed instead of vertically placed in a grid, and then navigation on the side on desktop, navigation on the top or bottom on mobile. That should be good, or at least better. Yeah, that would be the thing. All of the links that are on Kit are mostly Amazon affiliates and other affiliating things. Kit is getting like the commission and not me, which is really bad. But you know, it happens. I don't care. I don't care. This thing has been done like, I don't know, over 5 years ago now. So long ago. So long ago. I forgot to press the button. I forgot to press the button. Oh. So yeah. Why? How? Who? 1 second. That makes no sense. What the fuck? 1 second. Something is not working. Non-working. Yeah. What the hell? Holy shit, that took a while. Anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna send you a message for tomorrow so that we can define things and choose where things are and so on, and the time and all that. But yeah, that's the plan. The early to late morning. So you basically available in the afternoon. That's what you're saying, right? Yeah, we'll see. Probably in the afternoon then. Probably in the afternoon if that's better. But yeah, as always, the VOD is going to be on YouTube. That's going to be appreciated if you go there. There is a video that popped in earlier today, which is nice, about Japanese learning. And yeah, if you want to ask question when I'm not live, as always, join the Discord. And if you want to learn Japanese, as the video implied, you can use Can. Can is pretty good. Obviously, I'm not biased. Or you can give me some money through the UI kits or other things. It's always appreciated. But yeah, I'm gonna be back on Wednesday if all goes well, if I'm not dead, which can happen. We never know. At 4:20. And yeah, that's gonna be the thing. So as always, eat something, drink something, be kind to each other, enjoy the raid, gain the points, and all of that. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. Okay, tomorrow probably. Have fun. Take care. Bye.